I'm Chappers.
And I'm the Captain.
And we're at Andertons.
We certainly are.
With an exclusivo for you.
Yes.
From Blackstar Amplification, Planet Earth.
Absolutely. Well, I'm loving Blackstar. If we didn't love them before, we certainly love them more now.
Love them even more now.
This is a exclusive video that Anderton's very privileged to be able to shoot, because this is the very first production model of a new amplifier from Blackstar. This is from its Series 1 range, but this is a 4-channel, 100-watt, 6L6 loaded mega head, monster head. So if you're familiar with the Series 1 range, you'll notice it's the same sort of preamp section that you get on the current 200-watt KT88 loaded model, but in a 100-watt version with 6L6 tubes. And there are 2 of these heads, one which you heard in our last month's videos, which is the EL34 loaded one. This is the 6L6 loaded one. And you can tell the 2 apart, as this one is blacker and badder.
It's so black. I'm loving the fact what they've done is the knobs are black now, and what's uber cool, love the attention to detail. Inside here, the 2 whopping big transformers in here have been dressed up to look like they're wearing Darth Vader's helmet, and are all gloss black in here. So it's basically, apart from the logo and the screen printing, it's black. Black!
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 And we're running this through a Series 1 412. Nothing new here. This is one of the existing Series 1 412, so it's the vintage 30 loaded 412. We'll be using a few guitars during this video.
Yes, we will.
And I'm using one pedal, because Series 1 has no reverb, so I've got one of my favourite little pedals. Doesn't cost a lot of money, these are about 70 quid or something. It's the Electro Harmonix Nano Holy Grail reverb, so I've just got that set to a spring reverb setting.
That's what we do here at Andertons.
Absolutely.
So here's a clean tone for you. Let's get mayonnaise. That's a beautiful thing, isn't it? It really is. Crunch time.
what have we got? If you're not familiar with Series 1, let me take you through why Series 1 is such an epic amplifier. What I'm going to tell you now pretty much applies to the whole Series 1 range. Check out details on the Andertons website if you need more info. But so, first of all, got this really, really chunky metal foot switch here that Chappers been using. Super, super easy. We haven't got anything complicated like, you know, effects loop buttons or anything like that on here. It is simply a 4-button foot switch, so I can change from the 4 sounds: clean, crunch, OD1, OD2, which you heard Chappers.
Do me a favour, go clean, super overdrive clean.
Okay.
Now you'll notice, unlike some competitors, there wasn't the second drop out and then come back in.
Yeah.
They take you straight in there, straight out of there, and straight in there again, like a sexual simian.
I don't know if I'm making this up now, but you'll note one of the things I've just noticed, these aren't latching foot switches, these are momentary, so I'm not getting that clunk as I change. So if I do that again,
go from a crunch to the super overdrive.
And it's a silent switch, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And I guess they've managed to do that because it's not using a normal jack plug to connect this. It's just using like a serial cable, like a computer serial cable. So that's kind of cool. So we really like that. And you get this free with the amplifier. So I'll give that back to Mr. Chappers.
It's amazing.
What they've done is they've grouped the clean and the crunch channel into the top row of knobs. So the EQ and the ISF feature, you've got one set for those. And then OD1 and OD2 has its own independent set of EQ controls. What I'm also going to show you, if we go to the clean sound, we had that set to its what we call its warm mode. It has a button here I can make go to a bright mode. So
this is
bright now.
Bright now.
Yeah. So you can set that for whatever is best for your guitar or for the tone you're doing. We've also got a second option on the crunch channel as well to switch between normal crunch and super crunch. What we did also here, because the Les Paul is a very high output guitar, I've got the gain on the crunch channel only really about 1/4 of the way up. So there's plenty more gain on the crunch channel if you need it. But I'm going to switch between what they call crunch and super crunch. So this is crunch. So, and I like to use the crunch sound. The way I've set that up is for some classic sort of 70s rock type crunch sound. So it gives a bit of the stonage. We love a bit of that. I really like that. I think that's a great kind of great sound for like a vintage amp. So kind of back in the 70s when that was about as distorted as you could make an amp go. I really like that. Then, of course, moving into more modern, higher gain sort of amplifiers.
A lot of gain.
OD1.
More gain than you need for anything, really. Here we go. thing that's fantastic there is it's tight.
Yeah.
It isn't really saggy and kind of muddy.
Well, I think we've done that because, again, that for me, that OD1 is kind of moving into that next genre. It's like the JCM 800-y kind of where they took that, manufacturers managed to get that next bit of gain out of it.
Yeah.
But I've got the gain set halfway up here.
Right, so let's take them to 2 then.
Now, number 2, I think, is what you would associate with, if you looked at your sort of iconic super high gain amplifiers, dual rectifiers, that kind of thing. I've just gone balls to the wall here, maximum gain. So this is, there's a whole heap of rumours about, what amplifiers and Metallica are actually using behind the Boogie stuff. Maybe it's Boogie, I don't know, I don't want to get sued, but I've heard rumours that they've got some Blackstar stuff. So, anyway, let's hear some Metallica, check it out.
Gain than you need for anything at all.
It's a lot of gain.
Yeah, it is.
It's great sound. Loving it.
Let's do a little bit of quick choppy, shreddy lead
Yeah.
with that super gain, just so that you can hear the tightness and the clarity contained within this sonic comparison here.
It is tight.
It's tight.
I must admit, I bet you this with a wah or something as well would be so good.
I'll tell you, I bet this would be nice with the custom shot Telecaster. And lo, it was so. Such is the power. The Andertons' arm has grown longer. How many more Lord of the Rings jokes can we get out there? This is a beautiful custom shop Telecaster from Fender. They make Telecasters.
Really?
And they do it very, very well.
I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll take this little opportunity just to quickly whiz through a couple more of the controls on the Series 1. And these controls are on all the Series 1 amplifiers. So if you like the sound of them, go check them out. First of all, we've got on each channel, not each channel, the top half of the channel, so that the clean and the crunch channel have their own ISF setting. This is Blackstar's patented infinite shape feature. And the 2 drive channels also have their own unique infinite shape feature. And this allows you to tune the way the EQ on the amplifier works, so the basic EQ, to go between a typically British sounding amplifier and a more American sounding amplifier.
I find it's a bit like a blend of resonance and presence kind of into
All in one, yeah.
knob. So it kind of makes it sound really choppy, modern, tight, super leaded soundy, and more open, British and crunchy.
Yeah, it definitely does. It's a sort of again, I've probably said this story on previous videos, but it came from, the original feature was on some of the very early amps that Blackstar were designing, on what they call the test bed, so where the engineers are kind of trying to get the EQ. One of the engineers just invented one knob that he could adjust, so he could just kind of go, where do I want this amp to kind of sound? And the original idea was, once he'd sort of found that sound, he would transfer that into a regular amp with bass, middle and treble. Actually, everybody at the office kind of went, that's a really cool feature, why don't we just leave the knob on the amplifier, call it infinite shape feature? And that's become a real, you get that on most Blackstar amps. Hello?
Hello! Yes, is that Dr. Get the on with it? Yes, I agree with you.
So I've got the infinite shape feature rolled all the way to the left here, and basically this chap is just going to chug around some chords, and I'm going to just roll it all the way up, and you'll hear the tonal difference.
liking that actually.
Yeah.
That would be a really good 80s training sort of theme, wouldn't it, for like a Rocky show? Do some boxing. I love doing that D chord with a nice F bass. Goes to a G supremely, I find.
It's very good.
I'll stop talking.
So that's ISF, and as I said, you've got a separate one of those for to the 2 gain channels and the 2 clean channels. The master section here, I'll do the easy one first. Got a volume control. I've never been sure exactly what that does. Very complicated, so we'll ignore that. Obviously, it's volume. Presence control, which is just a sort of a brightness control. The resonance feature is a great feature. It allows you to try and find the frequency that your cab is going to resonate on. So the idea being that you adjust this to depending on what cab you're using, and you should find that sweet spot where all of a sudden your cab kind of leaps into life and goes woo. So that's cool. Another unique Blackstar feature is the DPR, dynamic power reduction. This kind of works a bit like an attenuator, but it's not an attenuator. It's not an attenuator in the true sense of the word. It's actually a voltage reduction circuit, so it will reduce the voltage allowed to go to the power tubes. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we do that now? Should we put a super high gain setting and then bring it down to like a bedroom volume?
Yeah, so it will adjust the voltage that goes to the output tubes. So rather than a traditional attenuator, which is you basically gun the amplifier massively, then put it through an enormous sort of transformer effectively that only lets a bleed of the
like Optimus
output
Prime.
out. Yeah, this actually is adjusting the voltage into the power tubes, and it gives the effect of being able to adjust the amplifier from a 10 watt output up to its full output, 100 watt output.
Take it to 10 watts, Captain.
So, okay, this is 10 watts.
Bring it up to sort of halfway then.
Halfway.
Bring it all the way up. It's like juicy.
And play something, and I'll just roll it all the way back. What I like about the DPR as well is it's not just a volume thing. It does change the characteristic of the amplifier.
Adds a bit more sag.
Yeah, as you basically, if you take it down to its 10 watt mode, it's sort of the bass end isn't so expressive anymore. It's a bit kind of spongier. You go all the way up to its maximum and you can hear the full sort of ringing of the bass end and everything. It's a cool amp. So that's the stuff on the front panel. Interestingly, on the back panel,
We've got an effects loop that can be with adjustable sort of output level, so it'll work with either rack gear or pedals. We've got a MIDI control, so if you want to be able to use a MIDI floorboard with some rack kit to simultaneously change patches on your rack kit and change channels on here, you can do that, so you don't need to use the Blackstar foot switch if you've got that kind of a rig. And lastly, on the back as well, it has Blackstar's emulated output. Is it balanced or just regular jack on this?
Balanced.
Balanced.
Regular jack.
Okay, cool. So if you're a studio guy, you've got 3-pin XLR balanced output that you can take straight into into your interface or into a mixer. If you've never heard Blackstar's emulated outputs, they use a circuit on there that really, really nails the cabinet emulation. So it's a very, very usable output for recording or whatever. And you don't need to have the cabinet attached. You can actually run the amplifier in standby mode and use the emulated
I didn't know that.
output.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So again, you could. If you had this, if you lived in a 1-bedroom flat and you kind of, you needed to practice and this was the only amp you had, you could emulate output into a little mixer, stick some headphones into the mixer and, play like that.
And how much does it cost?
How much is it? This is £1,100, including VAT. Whether you think that sounds like a lot of money or not, let's put things into perspective here. If you wanted to buy a Boogie dual rectifier in the UK, it would be more than double that. If you wanted to buy Marshall JVM, it would be similarly priced to that. So I don't think there's really anything, unless you go down into the either solid state or some of the really cheap and nasty brands, there's not really anything that gives you this kind of build quality or tone or flexibility for this kind of money.
Yeah. I think this is fantastic for metal. I think this is great for rock and blues. The thing is, it does cover a lot of types of tonal variations and styles, but really, if you're a Blackstar fan and you want to play metal, for my money, this is the amp you need to get.
Yeah, I would agree. And that's the kind of weird thing. It's kind of like the Boogie dual rectifier, with its kick plate look and its very kind of metal thing, has just become an iconic metal amplifier. But it does everything. You play country on it, jazz, blues, and this is the same. Really, don't be fooled into thinking this is a one-trick pony amplifier.
No,
whatever your style of music, whatever you like to play, there is a sound in here. It's very cool. Drew from Blackstar, who's just sitting off camera, he's so ugly. If we had him in the shot, basically, you'd all turn off. And he said, "Show him the clean channel with it all driven." So this is
that's exactly how he sounds.
Exactly how he sounds. So this is basically the clean channel set to its warm mode with the gain all the way up and a Les Paul.
It's great, isn't it?
You know what, Drew's mum's going to phone me later and
Good
say,
call.
"Don't say that about my boy." No, I just have to go.
That's
Sorry.
not what she'll say.
Shit. Sorry, Mrs.
In the comment section below, why don't you tell us what his mum would actually say? The holy mother of tones.
Yeah.
Holy mother of tones.
Who would you like? Who would you like to try and sound like? Is there
Me.
another? Is there another? Could we get like do you want like a slash sound or?
Let's try a slash sound.
So if we go to OD1.
So we just Captain Lee and Drew just slashed this amplifier to make it sound a little bit like the Guns N' Roses tone from Appetite for Destruction. Basically, check this out. It's versatile.
It's versatile.
It's nicetile.